And I would like to also talk about one important thing, which it's always dear to my heart. I'm sorry that I'm rambling because I'm not well organized.
No, you're fine.
But
Perfect.
free movement of people, Africans traveling within Africa. Most of you probably struggled at the airport to come in. Most of you struggle to go to another country. Why is that? Why do we fear our own selves? It's easier when you get to a border for a European to cross an African border or to enter into another African country than Africans entering into another African country. So the question is why? If Joe is a criminal and enters Malawi or Botswana and he does something bad, arrest him. Let the full laws prosecute him. So, but don't say that because you fear that Joe is going to come to Lesotho and therefore strangle you, so therefore you are denying visa. There is importance to be had for let us move freely. 1 billion people moving freely. Services will be there, trade will flourish, all this will lead to important growth for us. So for me, I think Africa is rich. Africa can trade itself out of poverty if the member states, the 54 member states here, today, you go home and you tell your presidents, change policy. The capital P, policy, policy, policy. If you change those policies that allow, we will. We always blame our politicians and we say it's leadership, leadership, leadership. But it rests with us. We are the ones who put them there. By the way, a caveat, I'm just speaking freely, so don't tell my boss that I'm so passionate talking, so that I'm not fired. Otherwise, if you want the UN rule, I'll be subsidiary, Mr. Chairman, this and that. But I thought we are having a frank conversation here. So I believe that we can do it. You know, all of you, when you go back, and you tell your people, and we're able to galvanize the people like the Arab Spring did. You know, I'm not saying go and start a coup d'etat or change your leader. Please, I'm not advocating that. But what I think is that policy, true policy, we can make those changes and change and that. So I would like to end here and say that, you know, let us rethink. Let us change this mentality that we are poor. Africa, we are not poor. God knows we are not poor. Let us put in the right policies in place, which would ease. Let's keep the 54 countries. I like to wake up one day and I see that I'm just an African. And I can stay here as long as I want, or I can go and visit Benicia in Botswana and stay there forever. This is all that I want. But it's not going to happen because it's difficult that it happens. So, but then I'm saying, you can relax some of the policies, okay? Relax policies, and I'll summarize. Let us be bullish on the regional integration. Let us be bullish on our payment systems to allow us to retail. You know what happens if you're a trader? I was once, let me give you two anecdotes, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Moderator. Jeff, I was in Cairo just before the Arab Spring, some time ago, about 2-3 years ago, researching for our report. And I was sitting there, and the guy asked me that Egypt belongs to COMESA, which you know very well. Egypt loves the tobacco from Malawi, right? Egypt loves the tea from Kenya. But you know what thing? The difficulty is, how do they transfer payments? They have to wire the money to London Bank, and then it's wired back into Africa. So why can't we fix, where are our central bankers? These are bright people who are heading our central banks. You have one in Jungu, in Kenya. Yeah. Why can't we put that together? Why can't we put together that when I pay something from here in Ethiopia, it will be wired to a bank straight to the other country? So the payment system, we have to fix that. We have to fix our trade facilitation issue. Infrastructure. Let me give you some numbers before I go. Again, you are rich, but they tell you are poor. We are rich. Africa needs, according to the World Bank, I'm not quoting from any other, my own source, but according to the World Bank, you need 93 billion every year to finance your infrastructure. Africa, right? 93. At the moment, we are spending $45 billion to fix our infrastructure. Out of the 45 billion, you might be thinking that all this 45 billion is coming from outside, from China, from what have you. No, 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 no. 30 billion is coming from us. From African taxpayers are fixing the infrastructure. 35 billion from Africans, governments. And Jeff, listen to this. ICT, 10 billion from the private sector. 10 billion from our African private sector is doing that. Where is the balance coming from? OECD, China, 3 to 5 billion. So you see the point what I'm making? When I say we are rich, but they say we are poor, so we believe we are poor. We are rich and we can do it if we change our attitude. So I'll end on that note, sir, to say that Africa can surely trade itself out of poverty. We can, and we should be able to. Please go back and tell our governments to change policies that would address that. But this is my Joe Atta-Mensah's view, not ECA's view. Don't tell my boss I said this, please. Thank you.
All right. Question time, folks. As you think, a couple of questions, and let's keep this active because I think Dr. Joseph Atta-Mensah really ended it on a good note. Let's talk. There's nothing wrong with talking. You know, a couple of years ago, if we talked, you could have been arrested or detained or jailed or worse. So let's talk. And like you did say, Joe, the leaders are listening. Before, they never used to listen. But now there are educated, smart, brilliant Africans out there who can compete on a level playing field. So these leaders have no choice but to listen. But you all have to talk to them yourselves. Let's have some questions. And as you think of questions, Professor Atta-Mensah, let me ask you, can we sing from that same hymn book that all these Afro-optimists are talking about? Can we speak that same language? This FTA, the Continental Free Trade Area, by 2017, that's 5-6 years away. Is it possible? Is it doable?